When Boeing unveiled the 787, it wasn't just an airplane, it was a promise, a leap into the future. They called it the Dreamliner, and for good reason. It was lighter, quieter, more efficient, and packed with innovations that were supposed to redefine long-haul travel. Larger windows, cleaner air, higher humidity, lower cabin altitude. It felt like the aircraft of tomorrow. And it was also the first major airliner built from carbon fiber composites instead of aluminum, a gamble that Boeing claimed would shape the next era of aviation. But dreams have a way of turning dark. Over the years, the 787 has been haunted by an almost endless list of technical flaws, so many that what was once Boeing's crown jewel now risks becoming a cautionary tale. On March 20th, the FAA issued a new airworthiness directive, warning airlines to inspect the Dreamliner's forward pressure bulkhead, a critical structure that keeps the cabin sealed at cruising altitude. The concern: improper gaps, misaligned fasteners, and deviations from Boeing's own specifications. Left unchecked, these flaws could cause fatigue, cracks, corrosion, or even catastrophic failure. And this is just the latest in a string of setbacks. Since 2020, Boeing has halted Dreamliner deliveries multiple times over fuselage joint defects. Entire fleets were parked, waiting for rework, at so-called shadow factories hidden away from public view. Before that, in 2013, the entire 787 fleet was grounded worldwide after a series of lithium-ion battery fires. Now, new concerns are emerging over the aircraft's radio systems, which have been caught switching frequencies without pilot input, raising the risk of total communication loss with air traffic control. Passengers openly question whether Boeing still prioritizes safety. Airlines like Qatar Airways report that issues persist even after so-called fixes. Regulators are tightening their grip, demanding inspections and slowing production. And all the while, Airbus waits in the wings with its A350N aircraft quietly building a reputation for reliability and efficiency while bowing battles crisis after crisis. So what happened? How did the company that once symbolized American engineering excellence reach a point where trust itself is on the line? Some point to the 1990s, when Boeing shifted its leadership culture, replacing engineers with executives focused on Wall Street. Since then, critics argue, safety and quality have taken a back seat to profits and shareholder returns. The fallout has been brutal. Former CEO Dave Calhoun stepped down last year amid mounting pressure. Airlines face higher costs, endless inspections, and scheduling chaos. Regulators are watching Boeing like a hawk, and passengers, the very people the Dreamliner was meant to inspire, losing faith. The truth is, the 787 isn't just an airplane anymore. It's a symbol of Boeing's struggle to rediscover its soul. The FAA's latest directive on the pressure bulkhead may seem like another technical footnote, but to aviation experts, it's the tip of an iceberg. The question now isn't just whether the Dreamliner is safe, it's whether Boeing still has what it takes to lead the Skysoar, whether it's drifting into an era defined not by ambition, but by mistakes. Because if Boeing can't turn things around, the Dreamliner may not be remembered as the aircraft that revolutionized air travel. It may instead go down as one of the most expensive missteps in aviation history. So, Dash, what do you think? Would you still fly on a Dream, or has Boeing already lost your trust? Let me know in the comments. But history doesn't always unfold the way it's supposed to. The dream began to unravel. Behind the glossy marketing, the Dreamliner carried flossident, accumulating, and in some cases, dangerous. What started as whispers about delays and production hiccups grew into worldwide headlines: grounding orders, FAA investigations, fires, cracks, and now, a crisis of confidence that could redefine Boeing's future. So here's the question: how did the Dreamliner aircraft, meant to inspire a new generation, become the poster child for Boeing's decline? The dream that started it all: when the 787 was launched, Boeing bet big. It was the first airliner built largely from carbon fiber composites instead of aluminum. The advantage: lighter, stronger, and far more fuel. It promised to cut costs for airlines while giving passengers a superior experience. Inside the cabin, innovations wowed travelers. Lower cabin altitude, around 6,000 feet, reducing jet lag and headaches. Higher humidity to fight off dry skin and irritated eyes. Windows 30% larger than those on traditional aircraft, with electronic dimming instead of clunky shades, quieter engines, and an aerodynamically advanced design that promised a more relaxing journey. In theory, this was aviation reimagined. But in practice, it was also untested ground. The first signs of trouble by 2013. Just 2 years after entering service, the Dream cracked. Lithium-ion batteries on several 787s caught fire, forcing regulators worldwide to ground the entire fleet. For Boeing, this was unthinkable. Their newest, most advanced plane suddenly sidelined for safety reasons. Boeing fixed the problem more, at least patched it. The Dreamliner returned to service. But the damage was done. Doubts were seeded. The domino effect of flaws then came the fuselage issues. Starting in 2020, Boeing halted deliveries multiple times. After inspectors found errors in the way the carbon fiber sections of the fuselage were joined together, these weren't minor mistakes. Misalignments, gaps, and improper shimming raised fears of long-term structural weaknesses. To handle the crisis, Boeing created shadow factories, secret rework facilities, dedicated to repairing over 120 already built Dreamliners. Imagine that! An aircraft meant to symbolize perfection, now being quietly fixed behind closed doors. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, March 2025 arrived. The FAA steps in again in March 20th. The FAA issued a chilling new airworthiness directive. Inspectors had found potential flaws in the forward pressure bulkhead, a critical structure that seals the cabin at altitude. The errors: improper fasteners, misaligned gaps, and deviations from Boeing's own technical blueprints. The FAA warned that over time, these could lead to fatigue, cracks, corrosion, or catastrophic failure. For passengers, that's not just technical jargon. That's a reminder that at 35,000 feet, mistakes on the factory floor can mean life or death. The communications scare, but the problems didn't stop with structure. Earlier this year, the FAA flagged a serious software flaw in the Dreamliner's radios. Some units were found to switch frequencies on their own without pilot input. Imagine a jetliner suddenly losing contact with air traffic control mid-flight. Boeing called it minor. Regulators didn't agree. Airlines like Qatar Airways reported that even after Boeing's so-called fix, the problem persisted, the erosion of trust at this point. The Dreamliner isn't just fighting technical problems, it's fighting a perception war. Public comments on FAA filings reveal passengers swearing they'd never step foot on a Boeing aircraft again. Airlines, wary of endless inspections and delays, are starting to look across the Atlantic to Airbus. The A350, Boeing's direct competitor, hasn't faced the same level of chaos. It's quietly building a reputation as the reliable alternative. And in an industry where reputation matters as much as performance, that difference could shift billions of dollars in orders. The bigger picture: Boeing's identity crisis. But here's where the story cuts deeper. The Dreamliner's flaws aren't just about bolts, batteries, or bulkheads. They point to a cultural crisis inside Boeing. For decades, Boeing was led by engineers, people who lived and breathed air. But in the 1990s, leadership shifted. Wall Street executives took over. The focus moved from precision to profit, from long-term trust to short-term gains. Now, every new scandal reinforces the perception that Boeing has lost its way. The 737 MAX tragedies, the Alaska Airlines mid-flight panel blowout, and now the repeated Dreamliner fiascos together. They paint a picture of a company that forgot its roots. The cost of failure, the financial toll, is staggering. Inspections, rework, and delivery delays have cost Boeing billions. Airlines are paying more to keep fleets compliant with directives, and passengers already weary in a post-pandemic world are asking if Boeing is even safe to fly. And then there's the human cost, the erosion of trust. The fear that the company once synonymous with innovation is now synonymous with shortcuts. The future of the Dreamliner, FAA's latest directive, mandating inspections of every U.S.-registered 787, isn't just another headline, it's a turning point. It raises an uncomfortable question. Is the Dreamliner truly the future of aviation, or a relic of Boeing's misplaced ambition? Some argue that without a radical overhaul, one that touches leadership, manufacturing culture, and corporate priorities, Boeing risks falling permanently behind Airbus. And this isn't just about competition. It's about the soul of one of America's most iconic companies. A cautionary tale, the Dreamliner was supposed to symbolize the best of aerospace innovation. Instead, it now stands as a warning that ambition without discipline can destroy trust, and that in aviation, shortcuts always surface sometimes in the most dangerous ways. The question now isn't whether Boeing can fix the Dreamliner, it's whether Boeing can fix itself, because if it can't, the 787 may not be remembered as the aircraft that revolutionized the skies, but as one of the costliest miscalculations in aviation history. Would you fly on a Dreamliner today? Or has Boeing lost your confidence for good? When the Boeing 787 was first unveiled, it quickly became a symbol of ambition, an aspiration to transcend the limits of aerospace technology. It was called the Dreamliner, and rightfully so, for it embodied the dreams of an entire generation of engineers, passengers, and airlines. Yet after that, a string of technical failures has not only shaken the aviation industry, but has also quietly eroded public confidence, making it a nightmare. Why did the Dreamliner turn into a nightmare? How might this aircraft kill its era? Let's find out. Once hailed as a revolution in aviation, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner was introduced with a bold promise to change everything. The aircraft offers an exceptional passenger experience with a range of design improvements focused on comfort and well-being. One of its standout features is the advanced cabin pressurization system, which maintains the cabin altitude at around 6,000 feet, much lower than the traditional standard, reducing fatigue and headaches often associated with long-haul flights. Additionally, the cabin humidity is increased, helping to alleviate dry skin and eye discomfort common on long flights. The Dreamliner's windows are approximately 30% larger than those on traditional aircraft, and they feature electronic dimming technology, allowing passengers to adjust the lighting without the need for mechanical window shades. Furthermore, due to its advanced aerodynamic design and quieter engines, the Dreamliner's cabin is significantly quieter, providing a more peaceful and relaxing environment throughout the journey. These innovations not only enhanced the flying experience, but also set a new standard for passenger comfort on modern aircraft. But this is the most highlighted point. It was the world's first commercial aircraft to use carbon fiber composites instead of traditional aluminum. Lighter, stronger, and far more fuel efficient. Its futuristic design was expected to shape the future of air travel. But instead of a dream, the Dreamliner has become a recurring nightmare. On March 20, 25, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration issued a serious warning, an airworthiness directive requiring airlines to inspect the forward pressure bulkhead of the 780, a critical structure that maintains cabin pressure at cruising altitudes. The reason is that Boeing may have made a series of technical errors during assembly, including improper gaps, incorrectly installed fasteners, and deviations from technical specifications. While not immediately life-threatening, the FAA warned these flaws could accumulate over time, leading to fatigue, cracks, corrosion, or even catastrophic structural failure. And this is just the latest chapter in a long line of problems plaguing the Dreamliner. Since 2020, Boeing has repeatedly halted deliveries of the aircraft due to production flaws. Most notably, errors in the fuselage. To fix these issues, the company even set up so-called shadow factories, secret repair facilities outside of its main plants, to rework over 120 parked Dreamliners. Earlier in 2013, the entire global 787 fleet was grounded following a series of lithium-ion battery fires. What was once Boeing's crown jewel is now a symbol of a quality control system in disarray. And non-stop there, yet another risk has emerged, this time with the communication systems. In a little notice document filed earlier this year, the FAA called for public comment on a proposed rule that would force Boeing to fix a critical radio software flaw that could result in a catastrophic accident. Specifically, the 787's VHF radios were found to switch between active and standby modes without any crew input. The FAA warned that TATS-authorized frequency changes could lead to loss of communication between the flight crew and air traffic control. Public comments on the FAA's website show that confidence in Boeing is about to disappear completely. Given Boeing's history of prioritizing profits over passenger safety, "I wouldn't fly on one of their planes if you paid me," wrote one anonymous user. Qatar Airways, a major Boeing customer, went further. stating that communication issues persisted even after installing the FAA-recommended software patch on its Dreamliner fleet. The newly discovered flaws in the pressure bulkhead have raised serious questions about systemic gaps in Boeing's quality oversight. While the company insists the aircraft are still safe and have completed over 165,000 flight cycles without structural fatigue, the FAA has nonetheless mandated inspections of all U.S.-registered 787 variants from the -8 to the -10. The inspections are estimated to cost around $850 per aircraft, totaling $115,000 for the affected fleet, excluding potential commercial service disruptions. Boeing says it agrees with the FAA and is committed to fixing every flaw, no matter how minor. Yet, the recurring nature of these problems is curious. Do they reflect a deeper crisis in this U.S. aerospace giant's manufacturing culture? Since the 1990s, when this company restructured its leadership, replacing engineers with Wall Street executives, concerns about safety and quality have only grown. What was once a shining example of American industrial excellence now finds itself summoned before Congress year after year, explaining the latest crisis in its production and safety practices. But hang on, thanks for staying with us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends. Join us on this journey and be the first to catch our latest updates. Of course, the cascade of issues Boeing has faced over the years has undoubtedly cast a long shadow over the company, leading to far-reaching consequences that have shaken its very foundation. What was once a beacon of innovation, the Dreamliner, has become synonymous with technical setbacks. First, the relentless wave of failures has not only diminished public confidence in Boeing, but has also raised alarm among airline customers and aviation regulatory bodies alike. Trust, once this producer's strongest asset, has been severely dented. The FAA, along with international oversight agencies, has ramped up scrutiny, tightening monitoring protocols and limiting the company's ability to accelerate production. The company's struggles reached a notable turning point last year when former CEO Dave Calhoun announced his decision to step down by the end of the year. His departure is seen as the first step in a muck-netted overhaul of Boeing's leadership and corporate strategy. Second, for airlines, the implications are even more immediate and tangible. Constant repairs, inspections, and compliance with safety directives have piled on additional costs and created a cascade of scheduling disruptions. The financial strain is undeniable. Faced with an ever-growing list of problems with the Dreamliner, many airlines have started eyeing alternative options like the Airbus A350. This aircraft, a direct rival to the Boeing 787, has garnered praise for its solid operational reliability and efficiency, making it an appealing choice for airlines looking to avoid the persistent technical headaches that come with the Dream. With the aviation industry still grappling with the aftermath of the pandemic, the stakes have never been higher. Airlines already under pressure to streamline operations and reduce costs may now have to reconsider their long-term fleet strategies, altogether in light of the ongoing Dreamliner debacle. Third, the recent FAA directive regarding the pressure bulkhead is yet another blow to Boeing's reputation. It not only heightens the concerns of airlines, but also further complicates the company's efforts to regain its footing. This comes at a time when the U.S. aircraft maker is still struggling to emerge from a series of high-profile scandals. Beyond the issues with the Dreamliner, the company has also been dealing with the fallout from the 737 MAX tragedies, the catastrophic crashes in 2018 and 2019 that led to the loss of 346 lives. And if that weren't enough, 2024 saw yet another alarming incident when a fuselage cover detached mid-flight on an Alaska Airlines journey. These incidents have left the U.S. manufacturer fighting an uphill battle to restore its tarnished reputation. But for Boeing, the path forward is not just about fixing the technical flaws of its aircraft. It's about rebuilding the very culture of quality and trust that once set it apart in the aviation industry. Indeed, it needs a transformation in how it operates, how it engages with its partners, and how it delivers on its promises. Innovation and technology, while critical, cannot replace the integrity and attention to detail that must underpin every aircraft it produces. If they fail to regain the trust of airlines, passengers, and regulators alike, the Dreamliner, once hailed as the future of aviation, will forever remain a cautionary tale. It will stand as a stark reminder of how misplaced priorities, unchecked errors, And a failure to listen to those who matter most can result in a legacy of costly mistakes and missed opportunities. What was meant to revolutionize the skies may instead be remembered as one of the most expensive miscalculations in aviation history. The current climate in the aviation industry